My big brother. Things I remember about Timmy, my big brother, from our early days. It's easy to remember early Christmases with Tim and me. We had old home movies that jogged my memory. We lived on J Street in Gloversville. He's about 6, I'm about 3. The 8mm film starts out with us climbing into bed on Christmas Eve. Then it jumps to us Christmas morning, decked out in our new cowboy gear, 6 guns, pop guns. Then we climbed onto our new 2-wheelers. Mine had training wheels. Riding to get the bad guys. We looked pretty happy. I'm guessing we didn't ride those bikes again for about 5 months, considering the cold, snowy winters we had back then. Then the video shows Christmas dinner, carving a turkey. Timmy loved dinner. We were both wide eyes and ready for the feast. I am not sure why we were allowed to have knives. Tim was a clean the plate kind of guy. I remember a story Mom told about Tim at the doctor's office when he was little. Sitting on the exam table, the doctor commented how big and strong he was and asked something like, "What are you eating to be so fit?" And he replied, "Spaghetti, a sausage, and a meatball." Since Tim was my big brother, he took it upon himself to take me on preschool adventures. One time he took me fishing at a mill pond several blocks from our home. I was maybe 4 or 5. And another time down our street, he put me out in front of the neighborhood kids with a football to throw and to knock down a low-hanging hornet's nest. As you can imagine, that didn't turn out well. I'm sure most of you won't be surprised, but Tim was, as they say, a handful to our mom as a young teen. Her go-to response to him for being unruly was, "You wait till your father gets home." Tim was an awesome athlete. He played Pop Warner football early on and on travel teams playing American Legion baseball as a teen. He played varsity in both sports in high school. I remember being in the stands for an away game and seeing him get the ball and blast his way up the middle for a touchdown. I was yelling in the stands, "That's my big brother!" When I had my band, he would come into the basement during our rehearsals and sometimes come to where we were playing. I think he was proud of my musical accomplishments. He started calling me Elvis. No more Rick, just Elvis. I was Elvis for many decades. In 1969, Tim and I were both in the first military lottery draft. Though his number was high enough that he probably would not have gotten drafted, he enlisted in the Navy as a Seabee. He served in Vietnam building fast boat river bases. After Nam, he served out his enlistment at Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. Tim loved to travel, spring break in his Corvettes, roaming around Europe for months with friends, San Francisco, Hawaii, and of course visiting his brother Elvis in Houston. He would come from Gulfport, Mississippi on weekends when he was still in the Navy. And with my news connections, I would get us into the press box at the Astrodome for baseball games. We both took advantage of the barbecue buffet. Texas was the first place that we both discovered Mexican food. Well, as life progressed, we saw each other a little less. He always called me on my birthday and on Christmas, and sometimes for no reason at all, just to catch up. He would say, "Hey, little brother," no more Elvis, and I'd reply, "Hey, big brother." When he retired, Tim and Mary Louise bought a condo in Florida, and then they spent their summers in New York. He and Mary Louise were living the dream. They always invited Kathy and I to visit, both north and south. Whenever we did, they always made us feel welcome. More than welcome. In New York, we would spend time at the lake, picnics and bonfires. In Florida, it was the beach and our favorite restaurants, Dockside Dave's and the Island Grill. The only regret, letting Timmy drive. Lordy, I think he still thought he was driving that Corvette. His family was his passion. Tim and our dad watched thousands of baseball games together. I'll bet they hold a record. They both loved that game. Tim always brought Mom fresh vegetables from his garden and his squash blossoms. She would in turn make him a pizza or a pie. He truly loved his sisters. He took Janice on many of his adventures, once to Mexico after visiting me in Houston. Tim and Mary Louise would often stop to visit Karen in Ocala on their way north from St. Pete. Erica and Jason were always most important to Tim. There is nothing he wouldn't do for them, nothing. Tim's love for Mary Louise was over the top. She will tell you he pampered her in every way. They had a life together to be envied. As Forrest Gump described himself and Jenny, Tim and Mary Louise were like peas and carrots. Tim made connections. That's what he did. He had lifelong friends from school and from sports. He had camp friends and, of course, his family. His relationship with our mom and dad was solid. His love for his sisters was unconditional. I still can't wrap my head around the reality that Tim is gone. Not sure it will ever sink in. He was always bigger than life to me. In the past couple of years, we started saying I love you when ending phone calls. We always loved each other. We just didn't say it. So in closing, I'll say it one last time. I love you, big brother.